racing, and look at Kirkwood immediately up to the inside of David Malukas and running down into the tight hairpin at 3. But here comes the McLaren of Lundgaard, up, locks the brakes, looks to take the lead. Can Herta take it back? It's a wonderful start from Lundgaard, who I think has just dropped back from Herta.
2 wide, 3 wide to the back. That's Palou trying to go on the inside of Kirkwood now, banging wheels down the hill to turn 4, and your championship leader gets the move done.
Boy, Kyle Kirkwood, a favorite, got muscled big time once by Malukas on the start and then by Alex Palou.
But what a great start from Christian Lundgaard from that 3rd row, just cut out there, the 2nd row rather, cut out there to try to take the lead, overshot it a little bit now, down the hill into turn 8, Dixon there, defensive from Rossi.
Pato O'Ward just ahead of Callum Eilop, and it's Colton Herta who leads on the run down to turn 1 as we start lap 2 from Lundgaard, Palou, Kirkwood and Malukas.
So hard as a driver to contain your aggression right now in order to protect your front wing. One clip of a wall or another car and you might have to come to pit lane to replace those fragile front wings, and it'll put you back, all the way back. So everybody balancing the tightrope.
As Kirkwood up on the inside of Palou, that's for 3rd place. A lovely move from Carl Kirkwood on the championship leader.
James, I'll bet he felt I've got to pay him back for muscling me around. Brilliant stuff from Kirkwood, late on the brakes.
Late on the brakes, he kind of thought about going wide, made Palou a little bit comfortable, left just enough room on the inside for Kirkwood to roll off the brake and pull that move off. These Andretti Global cars have been so quick around the streets of Detroit through practice. No surprise he was able to pull that move off. Now he's got to get around the arrow McLaren of Christian Lundgaard.
And I think Kirkwood will be in a hurry to get around Lundgaard, Will, because he knows his team has the best cars this weekend. He also feels like he threw away a pole position, that it should be him leading right now because of a mistake on his qualifying lap. So look for Kirkwood to try to make a move on Lundgaard early here in this stint.
And when you look at the data from Kirkwood's lap yesterday, he absolutely did have pole in his pocket, just hit the wall and had it taken away from him. This is Palou up the inside. Ooh, very tough to get 2 cars through there. A little bit of an elbow from Alex Palou, just a gentle nudge as behind and above in the screen on the top of your picture, Kirkwood has got past Lundgaard.
This is a replay full screen again on board with Kyle Kirkwood when Palou muscled him out of his way, but great stuff as you see another look at his move coming back on Palou. But great stuff to get around Christian Lundgaard early. Now it is Andretti 1-2 up front. Kevin, what can you tell us about the championship leader?
Well, Alex Palou was really hoping that it did stay green. So many started on the softs, hoping there was a pile up on lap 1. They're not in it. They can dump it, get onto the harder compound. But Palou said, I think I can make the tires last a little bit longer, go long. When will we see people come in? Maybe as soon as 5, probably about 8 to 10 is when it's going to start to drop. And when it drops quickly on the softs.
And that's interesting because you'd look at Palou and think, well, Kirkwood's got past him. Now Malukas is having a big look at the back of Alex Palou. Does he have a problem? Is he struggling with his tires? No, he's doing what Palou does, looking after his tires, waiting for his moment to pounce, keeping calm. But Malukas has looked racy all weekend, dropped to 5th from 2nd on the grid. But keep your eyes on that blue and white machine as Kirkwood in 2nd tries to cut that gap back to his team leader, teammate, Colton Herta.
Herta is first in onto his marks and just ahead. Alex Palou also comes in. Herta easily wins this race off pit lane.
And that's big because the biggest issue for Colton Herta this year has been poor pit stops. Where does Herta get out though in relation to his teammate? We keep our eyes on here. That is Herta. And Herta, I believe, should be ahead of the pack.
There he is on board here with Colton Herta, and I think that Kyle Kirkwood is just behind him. That's right, so Nolan Siegel just behind Herta.
Siegel.
And then Kirkwood, so Herta has a little bit of breathing room on this strategy.
Oh, but Siegel is looking to get straight past Colton Herta. Don't forget they are racing for position. And now has a little look and gives him a little nudge, and Kirkwood will take full advantage of that.
Advantage Kyle Kirkwood. Nolan Siegel elbows out, getting around the 26. Big move for the driver of the 6 from McLaren to get around Herta. and that opened the door for Kirkwood, who's now in the catbird seat.
Alex Palou and David Malukas also racing back there on cold tires. They're side by side. Palou to the inside.
And Malukas pitted earlier will have more heat in those tires. Oh, and we've got a spinner at the back. I think that's Rosenqvist.
One of the Meyer Shank machines in the wall at turn 8. We saw Lundgaard making that move on Herta in 8. Wasn't able to make it stick as the full course caution waves for the MSR machine. That's the 66 of Marcus Armstrong down in turn 8.
Rosenqvist gets going again, and all of that action created because Nolan Siegel, in the midst of the fight, fighting legitimately for position. There, the fight between Herta and Lundgaard. And behind, we keep an eye, and he just spins it of his own volition. And you know what? Having stopped early, Rosenqvist was getting himself into the fight with that top 5-6 battle.
Sorry, I misspoke. I said it was a 66. It was the 60, obviously.
And someone's gone in alongside him there.
I'll tell you what, in all that chaos, what an opportunity for Kyle Kirkwood. When Colton Herta got held up by Nolan Siegel, Kirkwood pounced. And now you've got a guy who has won 3 times in his IndyCar career, all on street circuits. And once the pit cycle's complete, he should be leading.
Back to green, single file through the final corner, and on the run down into 1. Turn 1, incredibly tight, incredibly treacherous. Does anyone dare have a look up the inside of turn 1?
Bit of a lock up there for Rasmussen, but he gathered it back up. As we see a car around,
that's Siegel.
That's Siegel. Was he hit, maybe?
Well, he was just in front of Kyle Kirkwood.
And now at the back of the field for Nolan Siegel. Way to see what exactly happened to him. We stay green as we run down into turn 3. Nobody really close enough to have a look as of yet. And as I say that, a very slow-moving Devin DiFrancesco out on track. Rear right looks to be loose.
Must have clipped the wall somewhere around trying to come to the green.
Big opportunity here for the green and white car, the J.J. Kern-Crane's car of Graham Rahal. Let's take a look at what happened to Nolan Siegel. McLaughlin will certainly get a drive-through penalty for clipping Siegel there, unless they determine that he blocked. I didn't see it. That's going to be a drive-through for sure.
Unfortunate development there for Nolan as we see Foster now down the inside of Ericsson, making that move stick into turn 1 and then defending. Ericsson trying to do the over-under. Foster having none of it as we see a loose tire.
I think that's Debs.
That must be from the number 30. Full course caution.
The green flag is out.
Rahal tries to get the power down, coming out of the final corner. His teammate Louis Foster having a look as Rasmussen with a big lock up, but keeps it all under control, keeps it in perspective, keeps the lead of the field. Single file through turn 1. Everybody seemingly making it through cleanly as Lundgaard is all over the back of the championship leader.
That's Graham Rahal all over the back of Christian Lundgaard. No push to pass available on the first lap of a starter restart as they head down Jefferson Avenue. Does the 15 have a shot? Graham goes wide, but defense from the 21 of Rasmussen.
Another big lock up from Rasmussen. Those tires getting tired, but Rahal feels, and he's felt all weekend, he's got a good car underneath him. I was talking to the RLL boys this morning. They say something's just clicked here this weekend. Sometimes you just have weekends where it all comes good. And Rahal has the bit between his teeth and can see Rasmussen starting to struggle on his tires.
I think Rasmussen's just trying to get some heat, especially into the front. So this second lap, since the restart, should be a little bit easier for the young driver for Ed Carpenter Racing, who was so aggressive at the Indy 500, managed to bring it home, but doing a great job. Now you can see with tire temp, Rasmussen getting a great exit.
All neat and tidy into 1. And Scott Dixon just sitting there, just biding his time, playing his game as he always does.
And now push to pass is active as we ride on board the J.J. Kern-Crane machine. You saw that green light in the corner. That was Rahal on that push to pass. 50 extra horsepower, a little extra speed, but no doubt Rasmussen was using it in defense as well. Foster a little wide there.
Simpson has a look up the inside of Stingray. Rob dispatches the Hunkos driver, who looks to come back as Josef Newgarden getting in on the mix as well. And now Kirkwood making up positions, and Herta on Palou through and on the inside. That looked pretty easy for Colton Herta.
Colton Herta really needs to just be patient with the cars in front of him that still have yet to make their first stop. You've really got to measure your aggression against the strategy.
And one of your questions might be, as we took a look back at Colton Herta, well, where is Scott McLaughlin? Drive-through penalty, avoidable contact for the Thirsty Threes. This then on board with Colton Herta. Oh, and it was a bit of contact, quite a bit of contact with Will Power.
Oh, so it was Palou capitalizing on a botched attempt to get by Power as we ride on board with the Verizon driver now. You're going to see the 26 come up the inside.
Bosch.
Pretty late move from Colton Herta there, and I was just talking about patience, not showing much of that right there.
Herta now looking to put the move on Power once again, but if he does so, he'll have to go round the outside. As Newgarden looks at Rob, we look back to Herta having a look at Power, but Power will run him wide. If Dixon's on a good strategy, Rasmussen is actually doing better than him on the same strategy.
Well, let's see how long the soft tire lasts there for Christian Rasmussen. And
Not long.
There we get our answer. That's the problem. He cannot make them work. And now he has 52 laps to the finish. He's going to have to stop again. So we were hopeful, Will, but probably not going to be the best of days for the Splendid team there.
Let's go. The hustle, let's go on the radio to Rasmussen. These out laps so important. We say it time and time again. Little lock up there, going way wide. Into the wall.
Cold tires. Rasmussen told to give it everything. And on those cold tires, the slip and the slide and into the wall, but he keeps it going. These cars are robust.
Might be okay. That's how strong an IndyCar is against concrete.
Sometimes if you hit it perfectly square, you can actually get away with it. The floor sticks out just a fraction of an inch.
I think he's good.
Pressures look good. Pressures look good.
That's what you want to hear from your pit stand as we take another look, that the tire pressures are still okay. The risk here is breaking a steering arm or a rear toe link.
Newgarden was right behind him on track. You see him there. His on board, he catches the contact, easily goes by.
I'd like to see a heart rate monitor on Rasmussen after his last 2 Sundays.
And I think somebody, James, like a Malukas or a Palou could be the first to make that last stop. I think for Kyle Kirkwood, you're just going to stay as the caution's out.
Callum Ilott in the prem up in the wall. That's a big incident. I think he's taken something on the left-hand side. That wheel has gone. It looks like the wheel might even have fallen off. That's clean.
That is what it looks like, because there doesn't appear to be any damage to the left front, but there's just no tire on it.
And Ilott, who had done 3 stops.
He had just pitted.
Had he just pitted?
He had just pitted.
No.
Another issue. This is so bizarre.
That's
Don't
T1.
recall seeing this many wheel nut issues. Saw Graham Rahal with 2 issues today. Devlin DiFrancesco with a problem. Now Callum Ilott right there in turn 1, right after exiting pit lane.
To your point, T-Bell, had someone in the top 5 jumped early and just come out of the pits, they would be sitting absolutely beautifully, but nobody did. This is going to sort of reset the field, though. Everyone's going to take this opportunity to pit under this caution. It's going to be a busy pit lane.
And this is the first time at Detroit where we've had a caution and a pit stop about to come on the split pit lane. But let's take a look first at Callum Ilott. Nothing he could do
and then
there.
the wheel just falls straight off.
Yeah, the wheel nut wasn't even on, so no way that he could slow down. On board with Stingray Rob.
First on the scene, and there's that stray tire.
And the green is out.
Ferrucci's gunned it already. No messing around, no waiting around for Santino Ferrucci, who leads from Kiffin Simpson and Marcus Armstrong. Big lock up from Armstrong, and Kirkwood will try to have a look, but it's only ever going to be single file. Palou is in the barrier at 1, and that will be another caution for sure. The championship leader is in the barriers, trying to get himself into reverse, trying to get himself out, but Alex Palou,
can he use that hybrid system to restart it and reverse it?
Crew Chief Ricky Davis looks on.
The 500 curse continues, guys.
And the perfect season is over.
well, in terms of getting podiums,
yeah,
that's it.
He's asking for the push back. We're just getting the tail end of it.
Oh, he got hit by Malukas.
Did he get into him?
100%.
Well, we didn't see the start of it, but we have to assume maybe that's what happened. Yep. Well, there goes Malukas' day, because race control will almost certainly rule that a drive-through penalty.
And Ferrucci will bring the field back to green. There's a gap between Simpson and Armstrong. What's Armstrong doing half asleep? Ferrucci will get this thing back to running again, and Armstrong has been caught napping. That will give Kirkwood a good run on him down into turn one. Big lockup from Ferrucci on the front right, holds it through, and that's all under control.
Great job from Santino releasing the brake pedal to keep that right front rolling. Is further back, everybody looking to seize on the opportunity of a restart onto this long back straightaway as Kyle Kirkwood, I think, will have a run on Armstrong. He does. They're side by side.
Remember, no push to pass, but he's got the inside and preferred line. That's going to be so crucial to put a car in between him and Will Power.
Armstrong was just squirming around under the application of power. All too easy for Kirkwood in the end as Foster fights around in the mid-pack. His thoughts, his hopes of finishing in the top 10 dashed with those pit stops, as now Josef Newgarden having a look at the back of Pato O'Ward as Rasmussen has a look at Dixon. Oh, side by side, Ericsson and Foster, and Ericsson does make the move.
Precious position for precious points all the way through the field.
Now Foster a bit defensive going into 8 as we get back to the front of the field. Look at Kirkwood right in the wheel tracks of Kiffin Simpson. He is hungry to get that move done. As behind him, Herta goes around Armstrong.
These are the two fastest cars of the weekend, Herta and Kirkwood for Andretti Global.
And is this the difference between used tires and new tires? We take a look at Kirkwood now putting the move on Kiffin Simpson. It will have to be around the outside. Simpson will have there's contact between the two of them.
Does that cut down the left rear of Kyle Kirkwood? So far it looks okay, but that was...
His wing is damaged, guys.
That was really sketchy at those speeds. Yes, I see the damage. Oh, looks like he had a banner or something hanging off it, perhaps.
The left front of Kyle Kirkwood's wing is bouncing an awful lot. Some contact maybe earlier in the lap as he was hunting down Simpson.
But of all the racetracks to lose downforce up front, this would be the one where you would soldier at home and make the difference with your feet. Trying to compensate for a loss of downforce. Let's see what happened on board with Kirkwood.
Riding on board with him. He just timed it wrong.
Yeah.
Just timed it completely wrong.
Sloppy mistake, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him down. As you look in the live box in the top left of your screen, he is right now on the gearbox of Santino Ferrucci.
Great exit for Kirkwood on Santino Ferrucci on the run down to 3. Tries to do the same move that he put on Simpson just one lap ago. This time it's cleaner, but look at the front wing. It's dragging along the floor as Santino Ferrucci tries to get the position back. Kirkwood takes the lead, but that car is damaged.
At top speed, it puts max downforce into that front wing and forces it to drag. So now Kyle Kirkwood probably will get an update from his timing stand, but it looks to be okay for now. But how long can it drag at 170 miles an hour?
And will race control make a call? If that thing looks dangerous, would they call him in under a black flag for repairs? Questions which we'll only know the answer to as the laps count down, 22 to go.
Keep in mind what is available today. Just trying to stick on the podium as Will Power challenges him. His best finish on a non-oval is 6th. The last time an A.J. Foyt car finished on the podium on a non-oval 10 years ago in Detroit, as Power has a run.
Power around the outside of Santino Ferrucci. The pace advantage evident. Look at the brake dust kicking out of the number 12 as he turns around 3. And now will put the chase onto Kyle Kirkwood with 17 to go.
I mean, it's a 4-second gap right now between them, so Power a lot of work to do in just 17 laps.
Oh, that's big.
Rosenquist, the number 60 car.
I think another car's involved maybe. That's down in turn 3. I think the 45 maybe of Louis Foster I'm seeing on the screen.
Oh,
see the AMAR safety team sprinting to the aid of Louis Foster and Rosenquist.
Leg.
So Rosenquist's radioing in. Louis Foster down the end of the escape road.
Fastest part of the racetrack. They're going 180 miles an hour right there. It is often a hotly and fiercely contested break zone, as we've seen throughout the day.
There's the 45.
There is the 45. Yep.
Made it all the way down to the tires, T-Bell. That's you got to be carrying a lot of speed to make it all the way there. He didn't scrub much off.
But such a great design. Rows of tires to sort of try to dissipate, arrest all of the energy going hard into the wall as you take a look at Rosenqvist. Looks to be all on his own here.
What happened?
Oh,
no, the right front
suspension
went.
failure. Oh!
Oh, no.
What an uncharacteristic sort of situation there. So bizarre. The 45, that right front just collapsed.
I hate to say it, I haven't seen a right front suspension failure, James, since it happened to you at the Speedway.
Oh. That is an immense hit into the back of the 60, and then Rosenqvist sideways into the tires.
And no way that Rosenqvist would have seen that coming.
Oh, it's a heck of a shock when you're just turning in. Oh. You think everything's fine, and all of a sudden, just listen. Oh, to accelerate.
So that looked like, I mean, it's going to be a rocker failure or something in the A-arm. On board here with Stingray Robb as he gets a view of that colossal crash.
Through the final corner, down the start-finish stretch, we have the green flag. We're back to racing ways, and Kirkwood's had a fantastic jump on power as Herta has a look at Ferrucci.
We've heard about how that Honda power plant has great power delivery, and that's what you need on cold tires and a bumpy street circuit. And just look at that gap that Kirkwood was able to pull out after just 2 corners. Everybody well behaved behind as they're in lockstep now into turn 3. Again, no push to pass on this lap. You're all doing this just off the draft from the car in front if anybody tries to make a move.
No big lockup so far in the turn 3 brake zone as Christian Lundgaard moves over to defend on that red car of Josef Newgarden. But Kirkwood, again, brilliant on the restart to get that gap.
Absolutely sensational. 1.3 seconds to the good already, and we're not even a full lap around this circuit for the restart. Kirkwood doing everything he needs. 1.5 seconds as Power gives a little right rear nudge to the wall.
Did he actually clip it? Who knows? Santino Ferrucci's probably the only other driver that'll have, only other person that'll have an idea of whether or not the right rear of the 12 actually made contact with the wall. But look at Herta.
Here he comes. Nope. Decides to tuck back in. It is such a sketchy brake zone right here in turn 1. But Herta should get another chance on the back straightaway.
Ferrucci will be desperate to hang on to the podium, though. He'll be hoping that he gets a run on Power down the back straight, and it looks as though he has. He needs to defend from Herta, but he wants to attack Power.
All 3 drivers in that group on push to pass. They're burning it now down into turn 3. Does Ferrucci have enough on Power? He's going for it.
At the inside, Santino Ferrucci. That is magnificent from the AJ Foyt driver as Herta now round the outside of Power, who defends and holds off the Andretti attack.
Power lunges it back into the apex and looks to defend on Herta, as now Herta is getting frustrated and anxious to get by because his teammate Kyle Kirkwood is disappearing off in the lead.
And Santino Ferrucci is disappearing from Will Power.
He's finished 3rd before, and it almost Herta now goes on Power.
Up the inside at 8. That's lovely, and a very difficult place to pass. Power, I wonder if he took damage from that right rear nudge into the wall, because now Kyffin Simpson's having a look at him as he slides it out of 9 and on the run down into 1. Kyffin Simpson in the Ganassi, the highest placed Ganassi, I might add, in the race today, having a look at Will Power.
Colton Herta now trying to stand up in the seat and go after Santino Ferrucci. He's already pulled out about 2 seconds of a gap. He's got 9 laps to get it done. These Andretti cars have been so quick. It's now Armstrong trying to line up Kyffin Simpson in the green machine.
9 to go.
And Will Power has 23 seconds of push to pass left. So his day definitely not over in terms of a chance at the podium.
4 to go on the streets of Detroit. We sit on board with Will Power. Ahead is Colton Herta in 3rd. Santino Ferrucci is 2nd. And you know what? Actually starting to gain on Kirkwood as now Herta has a look, locks up and does make contact with Santino Ferrucci. Ferrucci keeps it planted, though. Will keep the position ahead of him as Herta putting the power down, squirreling around, and contact between the 2.
That was just a little bit of a bump there. Kevin, what can you tell us?
For the 2nd time today, Colton Herta, this time he was being told, push to pass around him. He screamed, "Let me drive."
But now they're going to have to tell him that Will Power is back in the game. So check your mirrors, Colton Herta, because it is a 3-way battle as we take another look.
So close to being alongside, but not quite there. He backed out of it on the button for the last time for Herta. Just a little bit of contact wasn't enough to get alongside, and this is everything that Will Power wants to see. These two just working each other hard. Now Power's got pushed to pass. Colton Herta does not. Sitting duck.
He can taste it. He knows it's there. As Colton Herta right ahead of it moves out and will have to go around the outside into braking. Down at 3. Can Power put the move on? A big lockup from Colton Herta, who will have the inside, and that will be to his benefit. Power will have to try again.
Colton Herta had a huge advantage in having Santino Ferrucci in line with him on that straight, so he was getting a little bit of a draft from the car in front, even as Power had the advantage with push to pass.
And Santino Ferrucci is loving this. All of a sudden, the guy that was giving him a hard time for second place is having to defend. Ferrucci opens the gap up, now about a second over Colton Herta.
And look how much push to pass Will Power has burned. Out of the 3 of them, the driver with the most is Santino Ferrucci in second place. 2 to go, and it's not over.
Not over at all. This podium is not set. It's got to be one of the best exits out of turn 2 of Colton Herta's career if he's going to hang on to this final spot on the podium. Power on the button. This is his last chance with the advantage.
He turned off push to pass, James. He's going to save it maybe for the last lap. Power still has 7 seconds.
You bet he's saving it for the last lap. Look at Power.
Look at Ferrucci. Gapping these guys now as Herta's got to go defensive.
As Kirkwood with that damaged front wing. 1 lap to go, it will be across the line. There's the white flag. The next flag he sees will be the Advanced Auto Parts checkered flag. What a day he has had, but it is not over. Not by a long shot in the fight for the podium places. Power and Herta over 3rd, and look at the exit for Will Power now. He needs a good exit. He has a little slide. He will have to use his push to pass. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Draining it on the straight. Will Power will have a look at Colton Herta, who will keep it on the inside. Braid as lake as he dares, and Power finds no way through. Herta's defense is stalled.
It's so hard to pick your breaking point from Colton Herta's position on the inside. You know that Will's behind with that push to pass, but a great job from the driver of the 26.
The last All-American top 3 in IndyCar was back in the year 2020. We're going to have one here today. But what about this man? Kyle Kirkwood is the king of the streets.
Checkered flag, winner, winner. Thank you. Awesome strategy, awesome pit stop, man. We had to work for that
one. Lovely to see. But the plaudits will come in thick and fast for this guy. He didn't win just because Palou retired. He took this thing by the horns and won it all by himself.
He's going to lobby, as they said on the IndyCar radio now.
Kyle Kirkwood has street courses figured out at this point. Thank you for clearing me a path, just like you did late in the race. How did you go from 3rd to 1st with a damaged wing?
You know what? For some reason, the wing, it was damaged, but it wasn't really causing that much of an issue. You know, this AWS Honda was on rails all weekend long. And you know, there were some challenges out there, that's for sure. We had to pass our way back through a handful of times, and it was definitely not a walk in the park. But especially with that front wing damage at the end, we did lose a little bit of performance, but the car actually felt fine. I mean, hats off to these Andretti boys. I mean, the epic pit stops, epic strategy. The car was flawless. We were definitely the fastest, and on restarts, man, like the car just came alive. So I was actually super comfortable after that red flag came out. I was like, you know what, this is actually going to work out in our favor here, especially with the damage. So it's great.
You said yesterday after you qualified 3rd, you've never been more disappointed with 3rd because the car was great. Did that make you want to be even more aggressive today? Did you know you had the car to win?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the car was phenomenal, and it was last year, and you know what, I felt robbed of a win last year, and I'm so glad that here today we're able to bring it home for Andretti, Gamebridge, AWS, and Siemens. This is huge, and also for Colton, right? P3, that's a great team result. It moves us up in the points. Unfortunately, Palou had an incident, but that's actually fortunate for us. and it moves us a little bit closer because he was really checking out there for a minute. So, yeah, really good day, really good day.
Well done. It's a 1-3 for Andretti Global.
Up next, it's the Barbarito Automotive Group 500, Sunday, June 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox.